Well, let's start with this, right? We have a white officer, and this got brought up. There's a white officer by the name of Preston Hemphill. Let me show you what this gentleman looks like, because he got terminated. He is the sixth officer. There's another officer that's being investigated, so there might be seven, right? According to so far, there might be seven officers. I'm going to tell you what happened. I've had an opportunity to properly break down the video. When we initially covered this incident, I didn't want to keep going back over the video because it was very traumatic to a lot of people. Respectfully so, I get it, you guys. But I went and reanalyzed the video. I'm explaining to you what happened. There's a couple things that can go wrong, and there's a couple things that can go right. But you have to listen to understand and know that me explaining the law and explaining police procedure is not me vouching for officers. It's me educating you on how the process works. So you don't listen to the media and think you're supposed to get a particular outcome. And then when you don't get it, then you get mad and you want to go burn some shit down. But if you have the proper knowledge beforehand, you'll understand how the process works. That's all this channel is about, giving you insight into a job you know nothing about. The only thing you know about is what someone else tells you, and they normally don't do the job. So who are we talking about right now? You see the thumbnail. We're talking about the officer, Preston Hemphill, right? He got fired. And I'm going to give you the two reasons why he's fired. And then I'm going to explain to you why he may or may not be charged with a crime. So let's talk about that. And then once we go about that, then we're going to go on to this Instagram post that I posted. All right, we're going to go over that. I sent out a link to some people who had a lot to say. And I want to give them enough time to come up, because I'm always going to give them an opportunity to bring that same type of foolishness behind the keyboard. I'm allowing them to bring up here on the platform and express themselves. I always let you guys express yourselves. So what I'm going to do right now, as if one of those people come in, by all means, moderators, let me know so that I can make sure I have the link ready for them. The next thing we're going to talk about is this systemic racism, right? A lot of people are trying to make this about white people for some reason, and they're trying to find a way to grasp at straws. I don't know what it is about this whole thing. People just can't accept the fact that you have bad officers. And sometimes that has nothing to do with race at all. You just have corrupt individuals who had no business with a badge on. Sometimes it's that simple, you guys. Sometimes it's just that simple, right? You see, you have these black officers who had an agenda, which obviously looked extremely personal. It seemed like this guy, Tyre Nichols, was targeted. And if that's the case, you guys, that changes everything. You can't finesse a racist argument through there at all. So the family's talking about this gentleman by the name of Preston Hemphill. And let me bring up what he looks like so we can all have this guy. So we can all have an idea of what Preston looks like. This is Preston Hemphill. This is the white officer who was at the initial traffic stop with Tyre Nichols. He was the one with the taser, right? For those who remember the video, I'm not going to replay the video. He was the one with the taser, all right? This is him. He just got terminated. So people are still upset. People are saying, hold on. He's terminated. How come he's not fired? Well, I'm sorry. How come they didn't charge him criminally with the charge? How come he's not charged with murder? He's not charged with aggravated assault. How come he's not charged with aggravated kidnapping? Right? This is the question. This is what people are asking. Why, you guys? Because he didn't commit any of those. How come he's not charged with murder? Because he didn't commit any of those. He didn't participate. You guys, this is common sense, right? This is common sense. But before we talk about that, because some people are conflating how the laws such as party to a crime works. So in a lot of states, you have a charge that we use to connect a group of people who participate in a crime. So in this particular situation, there's 5 officers who are charged with murder, second degree, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated assault, and charge him with official oppression. That's a crazy. We read the code section on my other stream about that. That was a crazy, crazy charge, which I think is very appropriate for this situation. Official oppression. So these are the charges. Hemphill now, right? Looks like a giant Cabbage Patch doll. All right. What did Hemphill do, you guys? Let's talk about what he did. And let's talk about why he may and may not be charged. And I'm explaining to you how it works. What did Hemphill do? Hemphill now, he was a part of the initial traffic stop. Okay. One of the officers, who was a black officer, someone said, save the white man, Nathan. I'm trying. I'm trying. So one of the officers, the officer who went inside and removed him out of the car, was a black officer. All right. One of the ones that's charged and have been terminated. He drags him out the car. They try to put him on the ground. They're telling him to get on the ground. They're grabbing Tyre Nichols and so forth and so on. And then what else happens? They said, okay, this is what we need you to do. Either do this or we're going to tase you. Either do this or we're going to spray you. All right. What did this officer do? Hemphill actually tased Tyre Nichols. He tased him. All right. He tased him. And then Tyre Nichols broke away while the other officer pepper sprayed him. So Tyre Nichols, in that moment, he got sprayed and then he got tased, right? By two officers. There were three officers at the traffic stop. There was one on the passenger side, and then there was the officer who drug him out on the driver's side. And the video that we have that we could see in that moment is Hemphill. That's whose video we see from the whole interaction. What role did he play in all this? He tased Tyre Nichols. Why was he terminated? We do not know why he was terminated. People are saying he should have been charged. They're going to be slow to charge. I'm explaining to you why. There's two reasons why he will or he will not be charged. One, what do we know? We know that the actual traffic stop was an unlawful stop. Tyre Nichols should have never been stopped, right? It was an illegal traffic stop, meaning everything that happened after the traffic stop is illegal for everybody involved. Here's how this works. How can Hemphill end up getting his job back? It all depends on whether or not he knew or he did not know. That's the only thing that's going to save this one officer right here. Did this officer know that the traffic stop was illegal? One, did he know that the traffic stop was actually a targeted hit against Tyre Nichols? Yes or no? If Hemphill did not know that Tyre Nichols was targeted by the group, one, or did he know that the traffic stop was illegal and there was no legal justification for the stop? If he can prove that he did not know those things and he was there just to assist, then guess what, you guys? He'll get his job back. He'll get his job back. They're going to have to prove that he was a part of the group activity to target Tyre Nichols. That is all they need to prove. As long as they can prove that, you guys, he'll be charged. Essentially, he'll probably get the same charge as all five officers. But the fact that they have not charged him initially with all five means to tell me that he might not know that the officers were going to do the things that they did to Tyre Nichols after he broke away. And why do I say that? Because here's one of the issues with this entire traffic stop. The issue is that some of the officers showed up after the fact, right? It'd be one thing if all 6, 7 officers conducted this whole entire traffic stop together as one. What it looks like to me is 2 officers started this actual traffic stop, and then the other officers joined in. And when they joined in, they also continue to actually assault him and even break the law, even in the process. So again, this is going to come back to whether or not this was a premeditated activity amongst the 5 officers or the 6 or 7 officers, or was this something that they all just joined in because this is something they're accustomed to doing anyways, right? So the fact that he's not charged yet, and here let me run back to explain to you why this is such a big deal, and a lot of people don't really understand police procedure, is because if he was in fact, they have already, you guys, this incident happened January 7th. They've already started investigating. So they should know by now whether or not he should have been charged. And also, this thing that people keep saying, this was quick. This was not quick prosecution. That's how I know a lot of y'all don't know what you're talking about. When y'all are bragging about, oh, this is the fastest prosecution I've ever seen. You guys know this was the slowest for the amount of evidence they had. No, this was bad. This was bad. They've arrested white officers faster than this. For those who want to make the race argument all the time. And don't be mad. I've already did the research for you because I love to disappoint you guys who try to bring race into everything. And let's explain. Let's go down the list real quick for those who need a better understanding. Kim Potter, right? We know Kim Potter and Dante Wright. Kim Potter was the officer who confused her taser with her gun. All right. That incident happened April 11th, and she was charged and arrested April 14th, 3 days. 3 days. Amber Geiger, the idiot who went into someone else's apartment and shot him, saying I thought that was some BS. That looked very suspicious. Amber Geiger, she was, incident happened September 6th. She was arrested and charged September 9th, 3 days. 3 days. Slager, Officer Slager, Walter Scott. We all know Walter Scott, right? Traffic stop. The officer lied, shot Walter Scott in the back, tried to frame him, throw down the taser, right? That officer deserved the death penalty, and he's white. For those who don't never hear me say that officer deserved the death penalty. I repeat, all right? The officer who shot Walter Scott in the back and then tried to frame him, you guys, no, that was intentional murder. The incident happened April 4th. He was charged and arrested April 7th. 3 days. 3 days. This took 14 days. And I say that so we can stop making this foolish argument, right? The reality is every case takes time to investigate properly. One might ask them, why would they terminate him? Maybe because of the language he used during the traffic stop. You know, he made a statement saying, I hope they stump his head in or kick his, I hope they stump him out, I think he said, right? If I can't remember exact, I quote. They might ask, did you have a legal justification to tase him? Okay, that's excessive force. Excessive force is not always a crime, right? It is a policy violation. So with that, he can absolutely be terminated for policy violation. You know, excessive force is a policy violation, is not necessarily a criminal violation. And so what if he tells the people that I didn't know that that's what they were going to do? I'm over here. Why should I be held accountable for what they did over there on the other side? You guys, that's a legitimate argument. And again, you guys want to see him get charged. I want to see people get convicted. That's two totally different conversations. You want to feel good, right? I want justice. There's a difference. You want to feel good and I want justice. What makes you feel good? You just want everybody charged. You don't want any context. You don't want any understanding. You don't want anybody explaining to you. I want everybody. There was some officers over there in the corner charged. They charged. How come they're not charged? They never touched the man. Well, they didn't help out. Well, they didn't see what happened. How do you know? Can you explain it? You guys, this is still a court of law. You still have due process. Calm down. We're going to get there. The investigation's not over. Some of y'all are acting like this happened 2 years ago, and we're still waiting for results. You guys, it just happened. It just happened. Calm down. Calm down. Here's what's going to bury him. Did you see a traffic violation? If he says no, he's not the initiator of the traffic stop. He's not. If you look at the video, you see another vehicle that got in front of Tyre's car and blocked him in, right? And again, he's surrounded. They boxed him in. The chief said there was no traffic violation. So if there's no traffic violation, how did he get involved? You guys, this is normally what happens with police work and what makes it so dangerous. You can have an officer who makes something up and all the other officers believe that it's legitimate, and then they respond to your scenario and your situation thinking that you are operating in good faith and you're not, right? That does happen. That has happened, right? You have an officer who's driving. I've had a coworker get fired behind that, right? He was making up scenarios that didn't happen so he can avoid doing real work. He would go on the radio, hey, radio, I'm out with a suspicious person. Looks like he's looking in between houses and these windows. I'm going to try to, it's a white male or it's a black male, blah, blah, blah. And what someone ended up finding out, he was lying over the radio. So what would happen is people would show up. One day he did that exact same thing. Someone caught him behind a building of a church while he was pretending to do real work. So in this situation, what if you had one of the officers who pretended like Tyre Nichols committed a traffic violation, and then they said it over the radio for everybody to hear. And then they said, hey, you guys, he's refusing to stop. Hey, you guys, he jumped the curb. He's not stopping. He's not stopping his vehicle. Here we are at this location, this location, this location. And guess what ends up happening? All the other coworkers start to show up. Why? Because now we think that someone's in the chase. You guys, I believe that one of the officers made up this entire thing. And some of the other officers already knew that he was making it up. And so I'm speculating this, and I don't know, but that is the only way that Hemphill is going to save himself from getting any charges. If he was responding, assuming that these officers were having a legitimate traffic stop, you guys, that is the only way that's going to work. And so again, I'm explaining to you what it looks like behind the scenes, right? This is not justification. If he was a part of this orchestrated attack against Tyre Nichols, he needs to suffer the same exact punishment. He is then included as a party to the crime, you guys. But I'm telling you now, for the fact that he has not been charged yet, basically tells me in so many ways that he may not have known as much as people think he should have known. And so again, that's what makes this situation unique. Why could he have possibly been terminated? More than likely he was terminated because of the excessive force, and he was terminated because of his language and the professionalism. That is a definite termination. But do not be surprised if he is not charged with a crime. People want him to be charged because they don't understand how this whole thing has unfolded. And so all I'm saying is that is how this process works. And yes, it's possible for someone to orchestrate and make up false scenarios in order to get the support of other officers. And so that is my theory as to why he would not get charged if he absolutely did not know that the officers were going to do that. And so again, that's just my speculation. So please understand that, you guys, because if he doesn't get charged, and even if they decide to charge him, they still have to prove that in a court of law that he was a part of this altercation. And guess what? The other officers at the scene will also be the ones to try to exonerate him too. Like, hey, did Officer Hemphill know that you guys were going to do this? I'm like, no, he didn't. He wasn't part of it. It was just so-and-so told us to do this and do that, and that's what we did. And guess what, you guys? He's free as a bird. You don't like that he tased them. I get it. I absolutely get it. But reality is there's a story behind everybody's actions. And sometimes those actions can be criminal and sometimes they cannot, and that's just me explaining to you how the process works and how policy works within a police department.